For our pie dough, we'll be using all-purpose flour, salted butter or margarine that has been refrigerated and is firm to the touch. We'll be needing cold water as well. So into your mixing bowl, sift in your all-purpose flour, add in your margarine and mix this together. So the measurement for this is basically 500 grams of flour and 250 grams of butter. But if you do not have a digital scale to measure, then you can just use your measuring cups. But note that your butter, whatever measurement you use for your butter, your flour is going to be times 2. So if you're using 1 cup of butter, maybe you don't have a scale and you're using 1 cup of butter, ultimately you're going to use 2 cups of flour for that 1 cup of butter. That's how the recipe works. Just make sure you use salted margarine or salted butter. Then for the cold water, you really do not have a specific measurement. You're just going to add it in bits until your dough comes together nicely, as seen in this video. Please make sure you pay attention to the details here so that you do not miss out or mess up anything while making this, because there is a very crucial step to getting the best flaky pie dough. You do not knead your pie dough. The moment you start kneading it, you're going to develop gluten in your flour, and that is going to make your pie dough chewy and plasticky, if you will. So once everything is well combined like so, you're going to transfer this into a plastic wrap and refrigerate for some minutes before you roll it out to use. So again, don't put too much water until your pie dough comes together like maybe bread dough. No, just put enough water for everything to be moldable. The more you mold and roll out, the more everything will just marry together nicely. So don't panic and just follow the instructions in the video, okay? So now that this is wrapped up, I'm going to keep this in my refrigerator while I work on my filling for our chicken pie. So I'm going to use chicken breast because of, it has more flesh, and then I have a mix of chili peppers and scotch bonnet peppers, fresh garlic for some flavor. We have fresh onions, chicken bouillon cubes, table salt to taste, curry powder. If you have dried thyme, you can also add that, but it's optional. And so into a pot, I'm going to add in my already washed chicken, and then I'm just going to sprinkle in some salt to taste. You really do not need to over season your chicken at this point. You're just trying to cook it down till it's tender and properly cooked, okay? Once your chicken starts boiling, you check on it and make sure that it's cooked all the way through, and then you take it out. So here we're going to shred our chicken. If you have a shredder, you can use that. However, I like to use my mortar and pestle. It works for me just fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to pound the chicken. This is while it's still hot. Once you take it out of the pot, transfer it immediately into your mortar, okay, and then use your pestle to pound this. So we're not trying to pound it to get a fine paste from the chicken. No, we're just trying to pound it to shred it. So the pounding is going to help shred the chicken into thinner pieces, and that way we're going to have a much more fine chicken, okay, for our pie. So while you're pounding, you can always take out any cartilage or any bones, especially if maybe you're the one who had to cut. For example, I was the one who had to cut the chicken breast off of the full chicken here. But if you buy store-bought chicken breast or store packaged chicken breast, you shouldn't find so much bones, but make sure you check for bones and take out any bones you find or cartilage, okay? So here I'm just pounding this until I'm satisfied with how shredded my chicken is, and then we're going to move to the next step. So this is what we have after pounding. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So now into our saucepan or your frying pan or pot, whatever cookware you're using, add some vegetable oil, okay? Make sure that your heat is on medium heat. You do not want high heat for this. So you're going to add in enough vegetable oil, and then we're going to add in our onions. So we're going to saute the onions for a few minutes until it turns translucent. We're trying to build flavor and release all those juices, okay? So once your onions turn translucent, then you can add in your chopped garlic. You don't want to put in your garlic so early so that it doesn't get burned while the onion is cooking. The garlic is chopped much smaller than the onions, and so it will cook much faster. Saute for a few seconds, and then go in with your peppers. So we are just trying to generate some heat. We're not necessarily making a sauce here. We do not want our chicken filling to be bland, okay? Because cooked chicken tends to be bland if it's not seasoned properly. So what you're trying to do here is build a little bit of flavor and heat to balance that out. Remember, it's a pie, and our flaky pie dough as well does not have any heat or anything to add flavor to it other than butter and salt. And so we are going to have to build good flavor in our filling. Okay, so here I have some chopped carrots, very thinly chopped carrots. Okay, I just added this because I wanted my filling to have a little bit of something. I didn't just want it to be all chicken, right? So you can add in whatever you want. However, for chicken pie, you don't add in too much. The chicken is actually the star of the pie. The chicken is the star of the dish. You don't want to overpower your chicken with so much condiments. So after adding in the carrots and sauteing for a few seconds, you're going to add in your shredded chicken. You're going to add in your chicken bouillon cube, your table salt. Just sprinkle in a little bit of table salt to taste. You're going to saute this for a few minutes. We are not over frying. We are not overcooking, right? We are just sauteing this for a few minutes. Reason is the chicken is already cooked. We do not have so much sauce here that would keep the chicken juicy and moist, and we are still going to bake the pies in the oven for quite a number of minutes. So you do not want your chicken to dry out. You don't want your filling to dry out as well. That is why we are not sauteing this for long. And then we're going to proceed to assembling our chicken pies. So to your work surface, sprinkle some flour so that your pie dough does not stick while you're rolling it out. And then you take out your pie dough from the fridge, and then I'm just going to roll this little piece here of my pie dough. Since it was refrigerated, it's a bit firm to the touch. That way it's easier to handle and roll out. If it's too difficult for you to roll out, especially if maybe this is your first time, give it some time on your counter to just get back to room temperature a little bit, and then you just roll it out. Okay, so you're going to roll this out till it is thin. Now I don't like my pie dough rolled out thick, especially for my pies. I prefer for it to be rolled out thin. That way it's more crispy and it's easier for you to bite into. You get more of the filling than the pie dough when you're eating your pie and things like that. Some people like to roll out their pie dough to be very thick. If you are like that, fine, do what tickles your fancy, right? But for me, I just prefer when I get more of the filling than the pie dough itself. So I'm just going to keep on rolling this out, and then once I'm satisfied with the thickness, I'm going to go in with my cutter. So for chicken pies, you can use whatever shape you like, because by standard, meat pies, that is beef pies, come in this dumpling shape because we use this dumpling cutter for it, this semicircle or moon-like shape. But for chicken pies, to be able to differ which is which, most people either use a round cutter or they cut it into squares or even triangles. So it really depends on the shape you're going for, whatever you prefer. For me, I decided to do the round cutter, so I just used a round utensil that I had. I think it's the cover of one of my disposable cups, and then I just used that as my cutter basically to mark out the round shape. I used my kitchen knife. You can use your pizza cutter, whatever works for you, to cut out those shapes that I mapped out. So it's a plastic container I used, and the plastic was quite light. Like I said, it was the cover of a disposable cup, so I couldn't press it down and make my cut. I had to still go back with my knife. Okay, so after doing this, for me, the pie dough was still too thick. I still had to roll it out a bit. So like I said earlier, if you prefer for your pie dough to be thick, well, throw yourself a party. Okay, it's Christmas season. Do whatever you like, have fun, and just enjoy your pies. For me, I do not like thick pie doughs. Okay, I like for my crust to be thin. So I still rolled out mine a bit, and then when I was satisfied with the thickness, I went in again with my cutter to make sure I have that perfect rounded shape. You're going to be using 2 cutouts per pie. One is going to be the base and one is going to be the cover of the pie, since we are doing a round shape. Okay, you're not going to roll this out to be like paper thin, you're just making it thin enough. I'm going to be showing you the thickness in the video. I'm going to repeat the same process for all of the cutouts for the pies that I'll be making. So now we are going to fill our chicken pies. You're just going to add your filling to the center of your dough that has been rolled out. You don't want to overfill your pies because we are going to need a little bit of gap at the end so that we can seal the pies after filling. Okay, so just add enough but not too much so that it can close up and be sealed properly. If you like, you can brush some egg wash on the sides before adding your top cutout, but it's not compulsory or necessary. Okay, as you can see, I'm not adding any egg wash here, and my pies are going to be sealed properly. So now I'm just going to use my fork to press down the sides. This is going to help us lock in our filling to ensure that it's properly sealed in during and after baking, and it also adds a little bit of beauty to our pies. Okay, so here I'm just going in with my cutter again to make sure that it's perfectly round, and then that will be all for the first pie. So I'm just going to transfer this to my baking tray that has been lined with baking paper, and I'm going to go ahead and continue the rest till I'm done with the pies. And then next we are going to poke some holes in our pies. You can use a toothpick, you can use a wooden skewer, or just a cutlery like seam. We are doing this because while the pie is baking, there's going to be steam generated on the inside because of our filling, and that steam needs an escape. Okay, it needs an escape route, and if you do not create holes in your pies, it can tend to burst open. It can tend to puff up so much that it's deformed when it's done baking. It will not retain this nice shape and design that you've given it, and so it's advised that you poke some holes. Next, we are going to brush our pies with egg wash. This is basically just raw egg. I'm just going to brush it lightly with some egg wash to help give a nice golden brown color while it's baking. And then we are going to bake this in our ovens for about 25 minutes until it's perfect golden brown to your preference. Okay, some people like their pies really brown, some people do not. So however you like, you bake it till it turns golden brown to your preference. And our pies are ready. From the flaky, crispy, crunchy crust to the filling that is yummy and filling and spicy, it's just the perfect snack for you and your loved ones this holiday season. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this video to your loved ones, leave a like and a comment, and I will see you in my next video. Have a beautiful Christmas.